well, camera just turned off. Hold on one second.
No,
I'm ready. I'm so ready.
every time, right?
You want me to shut the door?
Please.
All right, look at that. Hubert, you just look right here every time you answer.
I can do it. I want for ESPN.
Hubert, Tennessee, obviously, long-time reputation as a physical bunch.
Yeah.
Coming out of the Bahamas, that game against Nova was super physical.
Yeah.
Is there anything just leaving there in terms of like a teaching point or something you want those guys that you saw from Nova to try to carry over into tomorrow night with how physical both teams are?
Well, you're right. Tennessee is very physical. They're an outstanding defensive team, and I just have a long history with Coach Rick Barnes. He's one that recruited me out of high school when he was coaching George Mason. So I've known Coach Barnes since I was 17 years old,
Right.
and I would even say not just Villanova, but for everything from the Bahamas, it was just a mixture of like different playing styles. I mean, from going from Northern Iowa to Villanova to Arkansas, it was in 3 straight days, 3 different like ways that our opponents played, I think helps us and puts us in a position to be able to compete against a really good Tennessee team tomorrow night.
Any update on the quarterback?
Yeah, he's gonna try to practice today. He's getting better each day, but it's still uncertain whether he'll be good enough to play tomorrow night or not.
Hubert, aside from the physicality that Tennessee brings, what other things stand out about them when you break down the film?
Well, their physicality, but they're always a really good defensive team, especially in the half court. Excellent rebounding team. Offensively, I feel like they have the ability to be able to score in the paint, but they've got some dynamic wing players that can create their own shot in different situations. So from an offensive standpoint, they pose a number of problems in terms of being able to shoot the ball from 3, but also athleticism and quickness to be able to punch gaps, get into the lane, and be able to cause problems off of pick and rolls, transitions. So, and all 5 of their guys crashed offensive glass. So that's been a huge emphasis for us all year, but specifically leading up to tomorrow night's game is that, making contact first and boxing out. Everyone has to rebound tomorrow night.
Hubert, how big of an impact can seeing this team compete against the Villanova and beat in Arkansas, how much of an impact can that have on the rest of the season as far as like their belief in themselves?
Well, one of the things that I talked to the team after the game against Villanova was how were we as a team going to react and respond? And I was really pleased at how we responded, in the second half against Northern Iowa. I was very proud of them, how they responded against Arkansas, specifically in the second half. And so that can continue to build confidence in terms of, giving us that confidence to be able to compete at the highest level, but also reinforce how much more we need to get better and how much more we need to grow.
Hubert, what's enabled Harrison to fit so seamlessly in with this group, and what have you been most pleased with about his play just early?
Well, one, his personality. He's one of those guys that makes you laugh, but he's not trying to be funny. He's just a joy and a pleasure to be around. He has an excitement of being a part of this program and this team and playing at the highest stage. It's it's like a newness about him, an excitement that just really lights up the locker room. And then on the floor, his size and his ability, he can just do a number of things on the offensive end. You put a smaller guy on him, he has the ability to post up. He's an excellent passer. Put a bigger guy on him, he can handle the ball, he can shoot from 3, so he can play a number of different positions. And so moving him around on the offensive end and also having the versatility because he's strong and big defensively, it's really allowed us to do some different things on both ends of the floor that we haven't been able to do in the past.
Some of the guys last year talked about how when the sets would break down, they kind of struggled when they had to go into freelance most of the times. With Tennessee so determined to take you out of your sets, do you see the team as being maybe better at dealing when the sets break down and sort of playing some freelance? And how important do you think that'll be tomorrow night?
Well, I think it's important to be able to not only exist, but to be efficient outside of your offense. I just really believe, you know, with the scouting that people do, everyone knows what you're doing. And so at the end of the day, like, how are you going to be efficient offensively when your play doesn't work? And so, you know, I like the way that the ball is moving. We have a number of playmakers out there on the floor that just in freelance situations can make a play, not only for themselves, but for their teammates. And that's something that's going to be huge for us tomorrow, is to be able to generate not only shots, but good shots when we don't get anything out of our initial set.
On top of that, after the Riverside game, I'd asked you about how long you think it might take for this team to sort of gel with all the new parts, and you said, you gave the Roy quote about Rome wasn't built a day, but it was worked on every day.
Yeah.
How much do you think you guys moved that forward last week, playing 3 games in 3 days?
I do think it moved it forward. I still think we have a long ways to go. I mean, we've only played 6 games, and I think the growth that this team, you know, I've said this before, that, you know, there's situations where I've said I'm very encouraged by the way that you guys have played, but I'm also encouraged because of how much better that I feel like that we can get. And so I think going, you know, these first 6 games at different opponents, going to the Bahamas, playing 3 games in a row, coming back, playing Tennessee, I think it adds to us building the type of team that we want to become. And I think, you know, it's a great opportunity for us tomorrow night.
Hubert, what can you say about the growth of Seth this season? Now, obviously, earned the start against Northern Iowa and then had the big game against Arkansas. He's improved a lot, it seems like.
Yeah, he has. I mean, and, you know, that's, you know, number one, skill development is just really huge for us. It's something that we spend a lot of time on. We're on the court with the guys all the time, but, you know, the reason why Seth is better this year compared to last year is because of Seth, his hard work. And, you know, one of the things that I tell the guys all the time is your number is going to be called. And I can't tell you when, where, how, the manner in which it'll come or where it'll come, but when it comes, your job and your responsibility is to be ready. And when Seth's number has been called, and he's been ready on both ends of the floor. And I was really happy the way that he played against Arkansas.
Just following up on that, Seth talked a lot about in the offseason with the UNC Media Day, just his mentality and changing that and his confidence. Is there someone on the staff, like akin to Jackie Manuel and Leaky Black, that's really been working with him on that? Any names come to mind? A lot of it is Seth himself, but.
Yeah. Well, you know, as I've said before, like, I require the guys to stop by the office all the time every week, so that we're just not talking about basketball, we're spending time with them. And so I always say that I can't coach you unless I know you, and you can't play for me unless you know me. And so the only way that we can do that is spend time together. And you know, we spend a lot of time with Coach Jeff Lebo, Coach Marcus Page, but really everyone. And we want to see our guys get better and continue to improve and play with confidence. And Seth is doing that.
Obviously, Armando Bacot's guys played a lot of basketball, things like that. Didn't have the greatest tournament, I guess, scoring-wise last week. Is that something you kind of talked to him about, and just what is kind of the key to maybe getting him back on track a little bit?
Well, I mean, he's going to be a focal point. He has been every game. I mean, they're not going to let him just post up and score. They're going to make it very difficult for him. They're going to hard dig. They're going to double team. They're going to be physical with him. And those are things that all of us as players have to adjust to and be able to be the best that we can be out there on the floor. You know, Armando, you know, you could say maybe from a scoring standpoint, but like he brings so much more to the table than just scoring. You know, his rebounding is obviously elite, the best that anybody at Carolina has ever done. His ability to defend and block shots, his experience, his presence of just posting up opens up everything for us out there on the perimeter and driving lanes to the basket. And so one of the cool things about Armando is he can be dominant in a number of different ways, and he'll be good tomorrow night.
After the big challenges last week, you're,
Thank you, Art. We'll go to Art next. Thank you, Chris. Along those lines with Armando, though, was there anything that you noticed about just his finishing around the rim? He was, as you said, he was dominant in the first 3 games.
Yeah.
I know the competition stepped up, but I mean, was there anything with the finishing? Because it looked like, you know, there were some point blank ones that he didn't finish down there.
Well, I think, there were some, that probably normally go in, that didn't go in, and to me, that's just the same as sometimes my jumper didn't go in. It's just, it is what it is. To me, the thing that I look at is the quality of shot, where he's posting up, how hard is he posting up, the moves that he's making, is he attacking the offensive glass? And so, one of the things that I've told him a number of times, it's a product of his hard work. This is the best that he's shot from the free throw line. So when he's getting fouled, he's going up there and making a lot of his free throws, and so that shows growth. And so, there are going to be days where the ball doesn't go in normally, but I love the way that Armando's playing, and he means so much to our team.
yeah, after the challenges in Atlanta this year, you're about to play 4 ranked teams and an ACC opener in the next 5 games. Do you like that many challenges this early in the season?
Well, I can't remember a time where there hasn't been challenges for the University of North Carolina men's basketball program. I just don't remember a time. I remember when I played here and we played everybody. As an assistant coach, we played everybody. And so this isn't uncharacteristic of what Carolina men's basketball does. And so it's great to be able to play teams like Tennessee and Arkansas and Villanova, and the only difference is playing a conference opponent this early. That's something that is just relatively new. But in terms of playing a challenging schedule and playing against some of the better teams in the country, to my knowledge, that's what Carolina has done since I can remember Carolina being Carolina.
When you look at Tennessee, just having one of the better defensive teams in the country, I guess, UVA has the pack line defense, but when you look at the Volunteers, what do they kind of do defensively that causes so much havoc for opposing teams?
Well, I think, there's a number of things. One, they have great individual defenders. I mean, they have guys that just buy in and just are gifted individual one-on-one defenders, whether it's out on the perimeter or in the post. They do a really good job of protecting the paint, and not allowing teams, whether to post up or dribble drive, attack the basket, to keep guys out of the paint, and they're a really good physical rebounding team. So if you can check those 3 boxes, that puts you in a position to be really good defensively, and that's something that's always been a staple of Coach Barnes, whether he was at Texas or Clemson or George Mason, and now at Tennessee, and those are things that have always been consistent with the teams that he's coached.
How is RJ different this year so far than
Leadership. I mean, his game just continues to expand, and being able to always be a big time player and make plays on both ends of the floor that need to be had. But his just leadership. I mean, just yesterday at practice, him being comfortable to be a leader in his own personality, the way that he communicates with everybody. It's his leadership. This is the most that I've ever heard him speak, have a voice this year, and I love it because he's somebody that the players listen to and they respond to and they respect.
How much is leadership also performing and maybe taking that shot when it needs to be taken, making the shots, and the stuff that he did, especially the last 2 games in the Bahamas? It looked like his play exuded some leadership as well, not just the vocal stuff.
Well, I think you can be a leader in a number of different ways. I think you can be a leader by your play. I think you can be a leader, by words. I think you can be a leader by your actions. I think you can also be a leader by how you respond and how you react to certain situations, whether things are going your way or things aren't. And so I think you can be a leader. How do you prepare? How you practice? I think leadership comes in many different forms, and that's the thing that the growth in RJ is, that not only has he grown as a leader, but in many different areas.
So to kind of stay on RJ, how do you think he's kind of benefited from maybe having Cadeau and Ingram out there to kind of help his playmakers? Like, from our perspective, it seems like he's able to find his shot a little bit more, just actually been more catch and shoot opportunities. How has he kind of benefited from, you know, some of those other guys helping with it?
Well, I mean, that's what I have always enjoyed and wanted, is as many playmakers out there on the floor as possible. I think it's just too much, especially at our level, to have just one guy that can make and create shots. I think you need multiple guys that can do things on the offensive end, shot creators when the play breaks down, that can generate good shots and generate points. And so having, you know, guys on the floor like Seth and Elliott and Harrison and Cormac and Armando, guys that can create shots, I think not only does it help RJ, I think it helps everybody else on the team.
Take one or two more and then we'll get Harrison in here.
To follow up on Adam's question about Armando, you mentioned you judge shot quality. Have you been satisfied with like the disbursement of shots? You always talk about penetration through the post. Have you been satisfied with the number of touches that Armando's been getting so far this season?
Yeah, you know, we want the ball down on the post, because I mean, he scores, he gets fouled, he gets to the free throw line, and he gets us to the penalty, and that's always want to dominate, you know, points in the paint through post, penetration and offensive rebounds. You know, adjusting to double teams, working harder to catch the ball deeper into the paint so that double teams can't come and you can score automatically. Running in transition to be able to get early post touches. It's very difficult to double team in transition. And so just different things on trying to utilize everything that Armando can do for us out there on the floor. And so looking forward to him playing tomorrow night.
Last one, Adam.
Hubert, Harrison said to us the other day, he mentioned that he got over to the bench and Marcus had like the iPad and was showing him, like, you know, if you get down a little bit more in the post here, things might open up. Like, for you as a head coach, is that having, you know, the NCAA rule change where more guys can coach more guys, is that one of the benefits where you can say, Marcus, go get with him on the iPad while I yell at these officials? You know, like, is that one of the benefits?
I didn't yell at the officials.
I'm just saying, for instance. But you know what I mean?
No,
like,
it is. It is. You know, it's. First of all, I can't work an iPad, so I know that I couldn't do it, and so I wouldn't know what I was doing. But to have that instruction, but not only that instruction, that in-game instruction is invaluable. That's something that I never had when I played, and I think it would have been really beneficial in the heat of the battle to be able to say, look, this is something you need to do a little bit different defensively on the offensive end. This is how you're playing. They've been doing that in football all the time, but to have that ability to do it in basketball is something that's really unique. But I also want to compliment Marcus, because it's also the time and the delivery of it. And Marcus just has a talent to be able to communicate, but communicate in the right way at the right time. And that's awesome. I think it's great.
Thank you, Coach.